You talk about how great this weekend was. We should talk about how horrendous the officiating was this past week. Top to bottom, starting Thursday night with, once again, another bogus roughing the passer call on Thursday against Nick Bosa that's prevented a pick six that probably should have ended that game a long time ago, through the entire week. Maybe the worst officiating I've ever seen for an entire week of NFL football.
Let me give people a peek behind the curtain for the show real quick for the production. I put the script together and I'll shoot you some ideas and you'll shoot me back like, hey, we definitely got to talk about this, whatever. I feel like every week I've either wanted to send you or we've done it on the show. I want to talk about the officiating and how bad it is. And at some point, I always have to check myself because you pointed this out to me. It's like, am I just being like sour grapes about this? But no, Trey, objectively, the NFL officiating is so bad. And to me, that presents a problem the cozier the league gets with sports betting. Yeah. Where the officials are impacting not just outcomes of games now, but the money going in and out of people's wallets. That's going to be a problem, I think, sooner rather than later.
Well, listen, as someone who works for a sports betting company.
Well, which one is that again?
That would be sure. Caesar Sports, Caesar Sportsbook. I do think I just think it's bad. There's no, to me, there's no conspiracy theory here. It's just that they're terrible. I think I've told you this before, and I'll share it with the viewers in case I can't remember if I've said it on this platform or not, but there was a former NFL official who is now working in television.
Oh, yeah.
And, I watched games with this person, and he said, Trey, when I was officiating, I thought we were great. I thought we did an amazing job. And then I watched the game the way you and all the fans watched the game, and we're terrible. He said, we are terrible at this.
Yeah.
And, that's why, look, I will always say give these guys a sky judge, because a sky judge, a ref sees the game linearly like this. We see it 360. We see it sort of digitally in a metaverse. I hate to use that because you're Brediverse tag, but we see it in that way, right? We see it in this way. They see it in this way. And if they were able to see what we see, I think they would change things dramatically. And I just wish the NFL would have the big ones to approve the sky judge so we could get through this problem and it wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, and not to beleaguer the point here, but I want to agree with you.
No, you beleaguer that point. This is a point that needs to be beleaguered.
I want to be very clear. In no way am I suggesting that there's some, nefarious, in the shadows manipulation of game scores. I don't think that. I just think they're bad. I think it's a skill issue. And you could chalk it up to everything that you just said, which you should, because it's 100% accurate. You could chalk it up to them not being full-time and being part-time officials.
Which, by the way, for people that don't know, that's the referee's choice. The NFL tried to institute mandatory full-time referees a couple of years ago, and the refs were like, hell no. And people say, well, why is that? This is a side gig for every one of them. They all have a different job or several other jobs. Right. Like Gene Steratore, before he retired and went to CBS, was coaching college football, was refereeing college football, college basketball. He did a million things. A lot of these guys are like, Ed Hockley was a lawyer.
I was going to say, wasn't he a lawyer?
He was a lawyer. Yeah. And there's lots of bankers and lawyers and finance guys that do this as a side hustle. And they're like, I'm not giving up everything else for this. Right. So when people say, well, why aren't there full-time officials? That's the official's choice and the officials union's choice. So people need to understand that.
Yeah, and it's something hopefully the league figures out, because I think that's also a massive part of it. But